Good.
Ah! Good morning, everyone. This is Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. I'm your host, Clutch Crypto,
And I'm Baby Wellington.
and today we're going to talk about: are we going to keep pumping, or is a drop inbound? I don't know. Let's get to the charts and find out.
So, as you say, is there a drop inbound? We're dropping.
I'm in a short
So,
right now, so I'm kind of happy about this.
I am not. I got stopped out.
Is it like acceptable to eat a kolache on the air?
Absolutely. This is our show. And if you want to chow down on the kolache, then go ahead.
I'm hungry, bro.
I mean, I don't know how that's going to happen, work with your whole trying to become the bionic man, but I don't, I don't know if that's in the bionic man's dieta, but
Hey, the cool thing about the Bionic Man is I'm just an average Joe
she is just an average
with
Joe.
the whoop.
Woo-hoo.
Is
So here
that
we
the
go.
daily?
So this is the daily. So
Mm.
so we've moved out of this little formation that we have here. We've had some nice size. I mean, we've had some good volume that's come in to get us to where we're at. We've had nothing but positive days except for this day here, which looked like it was going to be a reversal. This is a kind of a change in direction type candle, and some more volume came in and pumped us back up, and so we're right on that original trend line that we had been hugging um, on the daily, and so which follows along with the 200 EMA on the daily. And so we've come through the 200 EMA. What I would anticipate at some point is that we come back and test the 200 EMA, and we haven't done that yet. And so I anticipate that we come back down and do that here pretty quick. As you can see, we normally, as we rise, we come back and test some of these EMAs. So we've tested the 50. We haven't tested the 50 in a while either. So coming back that 200, maybe into that 50. But here, I think we're playing with this trend line here. We got a lot of people that probably are basing their trades off of this trend line as we move up.
Is that
But
800 on the daily yet?
there's not an 800 on the daily. There is not. Dropping down to like the 1 hour, as you can see, we've tested the 200 here. We're continuing to expand the EMAs between the 200 and the 800. But if you look at the move that we've occurred, this was the original upside move to the upside that we're in. So I marked this off. This is the downside that we've gotten into. So I've kind of marked that off. And what we've done is really we've stayed within that range. So I think we had here, you had a pretty nice amount of volume that came in. You probably had a lot of folks that, as it broke this peak, were either, going long because we've had this fast move here, immediately came back, take out those guys, stops, right? We had this peak down, this here, which was our lower peak, our lower wick, came down, and as you can see, just crossed over that wick, pulled it back, and brought it back in. So right now, we're just chopping up the range, right? We're trapping traders to the upside, bringing it back down, trapping traders to the downside, bringing it back up. And then here we go again. We've got this move, if you want to call that a reverse cup, a little bit of volume that comes in for breakout traders, moved it back down with a strong vector candle to the downside. And so it's just, this range, we stayed within the range.
And
As you can,
we never broke a new high either on those last three wicks
on
that
those,
popped up so
right,
tight.
we
Yeah.
never broke a new high. So, I would anticipate that, we're either going to continue to range within this, but basically this seems to be consistent with, you know, them accumulating within a range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can either continue to accumulate and move up to the upside, or they could be building an accumulation to distribute, which that distribution would be to the downside. So we're kind of in this, we're in this range here. As you can see, we've got a lot of kind of this high volume of interest, and then as you come down here, you've got some of these low volume nodes. As you move up, you've got low volume nodes as well. So right now, it's just a matter of when it gets to the borders of these particular ranges, are we going to break through those ranges? And so far, when you look at these vector candles that are coming to the upside and they don't follow through, and they're matched up with these violent moves to the downside, it's it's a little concerning if you're talking about wanting to go up. And then here, this trap here that occurred to move this up, we'll have to see if it gets back down to yesterday's low, where kind of what the behavior looks like if it even gets down there. But we've just been bouncing off of this 50 EMA on the hourly.
I think as long as we close behind, as long as we on that 1 hour that we were just looking at, as long as we get it to close a candle underneath the 50, and we continue to head down, we've already seen that wick yesterday broke us to a new lower low, and typically when that happens, we're going to continue to see moves to the downside until we don't continue to break those areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And as you can see, like on the 5 minute, the way I look at these EMAs here is these on the lower time frames, they kind of, when you're ranging, they cycle in and out of these ranges. And so we're having another cycle through where it crosses over. We had this before, it almost crossed. That was a trap because people were anticipating that in order to go short. And so some poor soul, went short, in this particular area on the downside. And obviously that move was reversed.
So ladies and gentlemen, as you see down here, you see this W, but as you can see the last leg of that W, if you move your mouse over to this false W over here to the left. Right here, when you see the last leg lower than the first leg, then that's technically an invalid W. So even though you did see that breakout that came up here, the odds are and the chances are that we see us come back down into the 34.11 range and probably go lower are actually pretty high. Because that's an invalid W.
That is an invalid W. So, and you've got the swing pattern failure here just to bring some traps, but obviously, we have a lot of trapped longs up in this area, and the fact that they haven't broken any of these highs, they stay trapped, right? And so, we'll see what that looks like. Some of that may be the fact that we do have some news coming out. We'll check that. Ethereum, as far as what we're looking at there. Well, not Ethereum, but as far as funding rate, this is the funding rate that we're at. Across the board, it's pretty neutral to positive. So if we look at interest, open interest in general, click on that. We're at 6.6 billion. If you remember last week, we're like at 7.6 billion, 7.7 billion. So they've taken out $1 billion worth of OI, probably on that move to the downside, but they're just chopping the range and taking out, as many people as possible on the trading side. One of the things that I'm going to look at, because, I was reading up on, some of the information that was coming out of Binance, and what the consensus was, at least what I was reading, a few different articles, is that the data that comes out of Binance isn't the best data for OI, and that Bybit is actually probably the accurate exchange.
Really?
Relative to, yeah, man. So it's not, they don't have the highest volume, but for Binance, they say there's a lot of wash trading and there's a lot of things that manipulate the data, and that Bybit actually has, the probably the best accurate data relative to what's happening on the exchange. So, so now, let's just look at Bybit, a USD perp, which is a little larger market. I mean, we've got, 400 and 20 million or so worth of open interest here, but it seems to be falling in line with. So you've had this. The only thing you can see is you've had this move to the upside here, and OI didn't do anything. We haven't had a lot of changes here, and so I think most people, as far as this OI is concerned, is going to be in a long position, just based upon what I'm seeing. We just had, it's 8:34, just looking at the time, so we did just have the futures market open. And if we look at the traditional markets, one of the things that also is I noticed, there's really not nothing, but it's just something that at least on this website, they've moved BTC USD to the left side of the. It used to be over here.
Yeah,
so they moved it to this side, and so I used to work in a marketing company back when I was in college, Philip Morris, and thank you because you paid for my college. But they used to put their most highest priced cigarettes to the left side of the display because just from a mental perspective, they measured people's eyes, and when they look at things, they look to the top left first and then go forward. So that's the most attractive thing to them. And so I don't know, maybe this is a move for people to pay more attention to Bitcoin, so they've moved it into a preferential point on the screen. But anyway, so if we go through all of that, we've got BTC, NASDAQ, S&P, Dow. And so, we're pretty much flat, at this point in time. So, there's nothing that's jumping out that's really just yet. And so, things are flat across the board. If we look at what news is coming out, we've had the foreign trade deficit that came out. This is very expected that, our trade deficit continues to grow, which in my opinion is not a great thing for the economy, seeing that, China's kind of doing what they're doing as far as withholding exports or restricting some exports. And then they're on lockdown again, which is just going to further exacerbate supply chain issues. So we've got FOMC meeting minutes are being released on Wednesday. I think that'll have a big impact on the market.
Absolutely.
And then we also have further job claims reports moving into the week. So again, we'll have to see kind of how it goes. But today we haven't had much information that has come out. But I think tomorrow's going to be a big day from a movement standpoint. And then looking at exocharts, we'll kind of changed up some of the format here. But we've got some good imbalances that have happened here. And so everything is pretty much holding overall. If you look at, again, this is Bybit. If you look at longs versus shorts, we kind of talked about that as well. We've got $22 million worth of longs that are out there to the 1.7. So we're very, skewed to the long side, which would make me believe that, they're going to come after some of those longs, which means that they would go to the downside. So we'll just have to see if that plays out, how that plays out over the week. And go from there.
Do we still have a POC down in like the 2600 range?
Let me pull it back up. The POC on.
Oh, hold on. What happened? I lost you.
Well, I was going to let you take over the screen. But let me pull it back up. The POC on. Let's see if I can get all this done. Let's go.
Hold on. I gotta get you to this other screen. What have you done?
Can you see it or not?
Well, I can, but what I can't do is... Oh, crap. It's on the wrong. It's on the wrong screen. Hold on.
On my wrong screen or your wrong screen?
My wrong screen. I have no idea how to fix this. Just go ahead and tell us what you got.
Yeah, so for Bybit, I mean, we had the conversation about Bybit. So Bybit's POC is different than Binance. So Binance has their POC at 3384, you know, but Binance still has their POC much further than that. But we just had a discussion about, you know, kind of the data challenges that Binance has, or at least what I've read. And that was coming from, you know, some of the discords for, you know, high block exocharts, kind of hopped in there to look at some things. So Binance is going to be below even 3,000 still. Bybit is a little bit higher. Now that may be because Bybit has been building longs so quickly that it moved the POC back up. And so, again, that would indicate to me that, you know, we're probably going to head to the downside, seeing as we've had so much long pressure that's out there. So let me just.
Okay.
So you have control of the screen now, so you can do what you. You can do what you want.
I can do it. You can do it.
You can do it.
Okay, can you see that?
I can see it.
Okay, this is High Block Capital
She
here.
started screen sharing, but I haven't seen her screen just yet. Here? You gotta get here?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
And here?
Hey, are you messing with me?
No, I can't see it yet. It says it started, but it's not allowing me to see it. Sorry,
It's
folks.
telling me Zoom keeps crashing. Yeah. We went somewhere.
Now you're beside me.
Oh, cool.
You gonna try it again?
Yeah. Let me know if you
There
can
we
see.
go.
Okay, there we go. There we go. So should we look at Bybit?
Yeah, let's bring up Bybit and see what it. I mean, we're looking at Binance right now. You know, we've got a ton of long liquidations.
Man, just a ton of these down here. We're at 5.3 billion on the cumulative liquidation delta. As you can see here, if we zoom in, we would imagine and anticipate that we probably have quite a few longs that just popped up. Maybe, yep, look at all these. Longs. So they're going to they should keep hammering down and taking this out based on what we're seeing here. Oh, man. Sorry, guys. Anyway, all right. Let's get back to this. Let's go to Bybit just for shits and giggles and see what it pulls up.
I love the shit and giggle.
Wow, look at that! Like the granularity is there's a lot less out there than what we see on what we're used to seeing on Binance. But as you can see, it does tell the same story. Lots of longs right here, so I would assume that we're just going to come down here and start definitely popping these. I believe on this chart, these are 50x shorts, or yeah, 50x long liquidations, excuse me. And we have those all the way down to 34, 38, and then we have another cluster that haven't been taken in the mid to low 3,300 range, which I think is where you were talking about POC being on ExoCharts a while ago. Was that right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
That's
So that all kind of lines up. So based on kind of what we're seeing from a liquidation standpoint and POC, definitely see us getting down probably into this lower 3,300 range. And we have stuff that's all the way down here to 3259, and that will still prevent us from breaking the last low, because we do want to pay really close attention to this 3,200 area, because that looks like the lowest low that we've had probably in the last week or so. So we need to pay attention kind of in this area to see if we do break below that, or if we get kind of down into this range like 3250 area, and then start heading back up to the upside. So let's slide over here to Bookmap right here, and swing this over. Can you see this screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, as you can see here, everything's running slow this morning. Okay, as you can see here, we're heavily weighted to the downside. This green indicator here, those are taking on long bids. We don't have a lot on the short side right now. We did break through this heavy area, which was 3,500. There were a lot of orders there, and we were able to take that out. Next heavy support area with a high volume of orders is going to be in the 3,400 range. As you can see here, we have our order difference kind of bouncing off of the CBD here. What we really want to see here is that we get in here and actually cross above this, and CBD gets below us. So typically when you see this happen, you have this big red bubble. So lots of there's a lot of short pressure here, but a lot of longs with this green triangle really came on board too. So what I would imagine is they're just stacking up more orders to load them up down here to the downside in a minute. Normally this takes 20 or 30 minutes for them to kind of get their momentum back, because they kind of basically crashed through that wall. So I would anticipate that we probably range in this area just for a short period of time before we see some continuation down to the downside later today.
Nice.
You got
No,
anything else?
I think it's all pretty consistent with what we're saying, which might mean that's about to go up.
Time will tell.
Time will definitely tell, but the first 30 minutes of the New York Open, and basically they've done a stop hunt. Well, they did a minor pump, nice little pump to catch to the upside, and then it's brought it down, and so pretty consistent. We'll just have to see if it continues. We're kind of getting some of those vector candles as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well, that's all we have for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned below or before, make sure you pay attention to kind of what happens when we start getting into these ranges, and seeing how price reacts off of that. Until next time, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, same time, same place. We'll promise we'll be here. Don't all of our crazy errands are pretty much done, so
yeah.
we will see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 Central Standard Time.